I'm married, just so. I would like to invite the panelists, Ms. Teuta Sahatqija from Women in Tech, Drenusha Shehu as well from Agile Kosovo from Raiffeisen, Antigona she'll tell us more about some of the amazing things that she does, and Arben Salihu I'll make the introduction of them later. So, I mean, it's a very arrogant subject, right? If we look at the statistics, we see that some of the most in-demand jobs today did not exist 10 years ago, right? So we cannot necessarily predict this future so that we could start preparing things and some of the skills today. But from the panelists, we're going to learn in a way what are some of those skills and traits that are perennial and that are used maybe across various disciplines. The challenge of, so I'm just going to make this short introduction in two minutes. What we heard also from the other panelists, one of the challenges that exists today is a lack of human capital in the sector. And if we look specifically to Kosovo, we see something that caused it. Insufficient preparation. We have immigration of skills and a brain drain. And the recent opening of the market that basically has been targeting our skills for the external market. So this, just to maybe fill that gap, there's a necessity for new entrants, and someone has to create these new entrants. So I'll start maybe with Teuta, as she is currently leading Women in Tech as an initiative to both create new entrants, but also bridge the digital divide that exists, the gender divide that exists in the profession. So Teuta, can you tell us a little bit more about Teach for Kosovo and what you're trying to achieve?
Thank you, Visar. It is an honor and it is a pleasure to be today with you. I was afraid that each of you will be there playing and nobody will be here, but it seems that both issues have a lot of people to listen. I want to start first by thanking my friends from Women in STEM who came here and make all of us very powerful and strong and happy seeing a lot of women here in stage. That is not always like that. Usually they are full men. And this is a nice, good, and the right thing, right picture to be. I am director of Women in Tech Kosovo. It is part of a Women in Tech global movement. And our aim is to have 5 million extra women in tech, in STEM, in STEAM, I like to say, to put art also inside the STEM, and to have 5 million all around the world. We have 35 chapters all over the world, and next week we will have a big event in Dubai to conclude the whole series of events that we had in 5 continents. I am very happy to talk about new skills, since during my lifetime, my experience, I had possibility to pass from the time when we used telex. I'm sure that very few of them know what that is, or one, or telefax, or some machines with a paper, semi-automatic to have the accounting and other. And I had the honor and the pleasure, and I like to tell that I started to programming in PCs in 1985. How many of you were there in 1985? Probably very few. Yes, and to program with a language that probably nobody heard. It was GW Basic, then Clipper, then COBOL. Cloud was only something in a sky and not related to data, and Windows just started to appear, and I was so excited to say that computer can work multifunction, many things at the same. But I had also the possibility to be part of technology during the time, to install antennas all over Kosovo, and to program radios, to teach many people, including many women, in a third industrial revolution, how to use internet, how to use computer, how to use office. And I'm very happy that that big wave after the war, in fact, created that critical mass of people and infrastructure, that today Kosovo is one of most developed country with the highest percentage of internet penetration all over. But now we are in a next stage, and this next stage is up and running. It is the fourth industrial revolution. And fourth industrial revolution goes with new skill set, goes with new infrastructure. Yesterday, I was very excited to hear about 5G cannot do more. We need to think about 6G. Okay, we don't have 5G, but it is good to think about 6G. So what is our aim? Our aim should be to teach next generation with the skills that AI, that big data, or that robots cannot do. I believe that when steam machines was invented, they were having the similar things. But today we need to concentrate in critical thinking. We need to concentrate in empathy that computers and machines cannot do. We need to concentrate on skills and ask government to be enabler of new skills, to enable with legislation, to enable with regulations, to enable with other things, and don't mess up with business, leave business alone. We need to turn the education curricula in university to be able engineers and people to be able immediately to enter to workforce. We need to work with businesses and SMEs to have digital skills. I think that in a new generation, in a new time, each and every profession, each and every job have that component of digitalization. And digitalization should be turned to the mindset. Generation Z and children, fortunately, they are native digital. They've been born with tablet, with smartphone, with digital mindset, and I think that we need to help them, but help also us to be able to cope with new requirements and digitalization that is shaping our life, shaping our business, shaping our health, and our being. For the time being, I will stop here, but probably you will give me another turn to talk.
Thank you, Teuta. Drenusha, Raiffeisen in a way has various programs that is trying to prepare people for the banking, but then on the same time is preparing people that are entering the market on various disciplines. So what are the skills that you're trying to instill maybe on the youth so that they become this labor force of tomorrow?
Thank you, Visar, for the question. First, my greetings to the audience. Thank you for being here today and paying attention to such a grateful topic, which has been chosen by KosICT, which is very important for our youth. Coming back to the question, I will start from basic. What is knowledge and what is skills? Well, knowledge is something that we get through academy, by professors, by listening, by teaching, by reading. While the skills is the momentum where we put those knowledge into practice. And usually in the skills, you have a trial-error effect as well. So this is the gray zone where our market is facing. When we hear students coming from faculties, they still cannot get the jobs. And the question is why? Because they miss the skills opportunity. They miss the practical part. They miss the opportunity and the space created by industries so that they experience that knowledge they got in the academy. We as Raiffeisen have a dedicated program, which is called Raiffeisen Internship Scholarship for Engineers. The RISE program in the market is aiming to provide to the people opportunity to get skills and practical those knowledge from academy inside organization. Our organization is fulfilling this gray zone, but we are not the only one. Even earlier were mentioned. Let's say we have to be very brave that we exist in ecosystem and we have to benefit together. So in this ecosystem, we try to give opportunity to the students that they come for 1 year, work closely in a safe environment and experience this knowledge that they got from the academy. They are dedicated mentorship, they are dedicated people, and the program is payable, so it's not that they will not gain any recognition for the effort. Meanwhile, it's worth mentioning that after 1 year, they have opportunity to go to different companies and experience a different, let's say, system of working. This is how we in Raiffeisen are trying to fulfill this gray area through the RISE program. And if today here with us are any engineers, I would encourage them to join us.
Okay, maybe just before you pass, because I have just a small follow-up question. So if I'm an engineer, I want to learn more, I'm an aspiring engineer, what are those skills that you have in this program that you're trying to instill?
Sure. Beside the functional skills of the engineer is gaining through academy, we know that we have also side skills which are critical thinking, because in organizations we know that we need also constructive debate, but debate that doesn't escalate. We need also the collaboration, which we don't get to learn too much in academy, because our system, we all know that are more individual education rather than teamwork. And these skills are really crucial when you go in a job or you get an opportunity for the job. I would put it even in an analogy here. We can say that you are a sportsman, but if you know only about the sports, the team, and the scores of the sports, this is just a knowledgeable person. So what we need is a person who is playing, who is following grand rules, who is trying, who is gaining feedback, who is open to try something new. We as an industry are the first one also in the market who is working with agile methodologies, which are creating space also for try and failure and learning and feedback.
Thank you. Thank you. Antigona, I know Antigona from Kosovo. She's always been passionate about the learning in general. And today she leads the Kosovo Center for Distant Education. Just on the recent pandemic, we understood the importance of the ability of distance education. So where do you see, in a way, this skill gaining? The previous panel talked about the office of the future. Where do you see the school of the future?
Thank you so much, Visar. Thank you everyone for being here today. Maybe just a bit of explanation why distance education and what I'm doing here if it's distance education, it's not digital education. Actually, distance education has 3 generations. The first one was print technology, the second one was broadcast learning, and the third one now is digital education. So kind of it has evolved with the time, and every new technology has brought new opportunities for students to learn in the ways that they can reach to education. We have started Kosovo Center for Distance Education as a student initiative back in 2015 to bring about attention on different modalities of teaching and learning in Kosovo as well, at that time in higher education institutions. And I'm really glad that we pointed about the fact about digital divide, about the jobs that didn't exist in the past and now are existing. And these are all the things that we tackle and things that will kind of work the path towards the future of schools. A profile, a simple profile as of online teacher didn't really exist and isn't still existing in Kosovo. Us as a center, we're developing online teachers and they will serve in the future virtual schools because this is the future of schools that is envisioned around the world. And there are virtual schools actually existent for 30 years now, especially in North America, which we see as examples, but also we have a momentum to kind of pass through a lot of barriers and maybe mistakes that they have done, and now we have a chance to work on that. However, there is a multidimensional undertaking and efforts that Kosovo should take in order to have the future school or future education, including infrastructure, both legal and technical infrastructure within schools. You mentioned pandemic as well, that we did have online urgent learning. It wasn't really online or digital education, so we shouldn't really make that mistakes as well. If we give efforts to future of education, we shouldn't look on the experiences that we had with online learning during pandemic anywhere in the world, but that showed us something really important, the digital divide that exists in our country. And we had around 5% of kids in pre-university education that kind of dropped out because they all also called dropouts for a period of time. They didn't attend any of the last lectures on whatever form they were being given. Like broadcast learning was something that our state took over because there was the thing that it could have done. What I can say is that the world is asking for digital skills, but education systems generally are lacking behind. And we as a center here, we're trying to help kind of overcome that here in Kosovo by giving attention to curricula, revamping the curricula, bringing about policy reforms, because there's no way you can implement digital education in schools if there is no policy in place for online teacher, online program, and online learning. And we also develop e-teacher, e-learner profile, so we understand better with whom we are going to work. Apart from that, it's very important to mention, and also Donieta mentioned yesterday, what is important for municipalities is to understand the environment, the mapping of digital environment within schools, and that will give us actually head a way towards creating the future of school and education. I think this is in a nutshell.
Thank you so much. Arben founded and leads what's called Smarter Skills. I had the pleasure to work with Arben at least on 2 occasions. And one of the things that the company does is trying to identify the skills gap within an existing organization and trying to address. Now, you've worked with IT companies as well. Is there something that is more common that you see in your observation within the current organization, specific skills gap, to meet even the needs of today?
Yes, Visar. First of all, thank you for having me. During all these years, in my experience with companies, IT companies, and also sometimes with organizations, NGOs doing educational programs, what I've noticed is that, this is my first point, is most of the companies and IT companies that I've had the chance to work with, they are very capable at choosing and selecting and recruiting technical persons. But what I could observe is that the higher the genius in a person, the higher the tendency for introvertness. So this is when soft skills come into part, the people skills. Now, what we've been doing in the recent years, and especially during the pandemic, is developing some programs that either help assist companies in this stage, as Teuta said, that we're entering. This included remote team building programs, leadership programs related to the new system of work that we are getting used to, and also normal soft skills like leadership skills, team leaders, various programs from middle managers, generation gaps. We've seen this also in some companies, even though it's very, very rare as in comparison to some more developed countries. So basically, it's we need to start thinking more seriously about the skills that we're not taught at school or at university. Sometimes I even include some, in my workshops, aspects of professional handshaking. We don't even have that. Nobody tells us what is a professional handshake. So deep down soft skills are, someone calls them social and emotional skills, someone people skills, but it's basically skills that enable you to collaborate and cooperate with your team members and with people in general, in business, in organizations, everywhere.
Thank you. Very interesting, because we call them soft skills, but in reality, those are the hard skills to master. If we would point out two of the most important soft skills that you think are important to create the future workforce for the IT sector, what would those be?
Well, okay. To get back to your initial statement, it's called soft skills, but it's most difficult to apprehend because in order to change and improve these skills, it goes down to changing yourselves. In soft skills trainings, in comparison to technical trainings, when the training ends, that's when it begins or not. And it depends if the person is motivated sufficiently to begin working with himself. He's followed a roadmap through the training, but it's only the beginning. So you need to discipline your actions, your thinking, your whatever that is, so that you work for a certain period of time to improve yourself in that aspect. Now, if you Google top skills for future jobs in Google, 6 of the first ones, from number 1 to 6, they are all soft skills. Creativity being number 1, problem solving being number 2, emotional intelligence number 3, and so forth. So we're entering the stage or the era or this shift. That is, the more we are using technology and with all its benefits for communication, we can see that the more we need to develop our own communication skills. So according to my experience and my observations here in Kosovo, I think communication should be and coordination. Communication and coordination should be among the top ones that we need to work on.
Yeah, that's very interesting, Teuta. If you could maybe just add to it, because a lot of the companies here are creating these unique programs and unique products that they're basically exporting, and that requires a lot of collaboration in a world where we're working from home, and we have distance people working from distance, and we're not necessarily co-located. So communication is one. Very, very important. What is the second and the third that you would say are needed today?
Thank you very much. But prior to answering that, I want to give credit to Violca, who is keeping high the torch of ICT. And we need to help her. We need to help her to bring more women. She's doing great, but she's not enough. We need to help to bring more women to be even in that stage and in every stage. About the skills, I was recently in Amsterdam in a tech expo, and they're also most of them men. But I want to repeat one answer that made me really think about that. In a panel, engineer from ING Bank told that now we have some businesses who do not have solutions, and we have engineers who have solutions for inexisting problems. So there is a gap. Engineers, as you mentioned, I am engineer too, tend to go to very details, but not to see the big picture. So we have extra super solutions, but no problem for them. So in the same time, businesses have real problems with not fancy solutions of engineers who do not address them. I think that one of future skills need to be this interdimensional work. So for children, not only to learn about critical thinking. They don't need to learn about languages. As I mentioned, languages that I used, they do not exist. Languages of today for 5 years will not exist. So what we need to learn is how to think. Even maybe there will not be languages at all. No code and low code are now skyrocketing. So critical thinking and interdimensional thinking. Why not starting to learn children, let's say coding, but entrepreneurial skill set, to think it as a business, to think that skills as a problem solvers, to see the problem in a many perspective, in a many dimensions that will help them tomorrow, regardless what code, what language, whether it is cloud somewhere or not anymore, whether 5G exists or 6G. Let them teach with skills that are not anymore depending on things that AI, that robots can do. Let them think about that. Let them think in entrepreneurial mindset, in critical mindset, in problem solution mindset, in arts, that in STEAM, in STEM, that can broaden the vision, broaden the creativity, that will help innovation and solution for existing problem, not for inexisting problems.
Thank you. Maybe just being mindful of time, a question that anyone can pick, so I'm not going to name anyone here, but companies are constantly investing in their current labor force to prepare them for the challenges of tomorrow, right? So this is the current labor force who passed all the cultural criteria and we all feel good about. What would your suggestion be? What should these companies concentrate, right, beside the technical aspect? If these companies should invest in their staff on that one skill that is needed to deal with the challenges of the next decade, what that one skill should be that they should concentrate? IT, we're on an ICT conference.
If I may? Well, definitely, I would suggest that companies, based on what we're seeing and how universities are, in a way, losing their importance, because nowadays you have online platforms that you can learn things that you can use without having to study them, actually. So one thing I would suggest is when recruiting, put focus on personal attributes, human attributes that are relevant for the position, for the job. and then train them on specifics of the job. So I've recently helped a company develop the recruiting program, and what we did is amazing because we even removed university degree as a requirement and only focused on personal attributes, and it worked perfectly. This is one thing, and the other is if we go deep down to the mother of all the problems with people communicating and collaborating, I would say it's ego management, but it's so wide and general, so then we'll have to divide it into branches and specific soft skills that we might need to deliver.
Okay, thank you very much. I mean, the mother of all problem. I had a colleague here who said behind every problem there is a real problem. so I guess the companies should further dig down and find, what that.
Or it cannot really be a training. Maybe just awareness, internal awareness activities that people begin to understand why they react or how they perceive situations.
Okay, thank you very much. So maybe just to wrap it up, soft skills are perennial, depending, whether the technology changes or not. Ability to communicate, ability to think critically, ability to work with others and collaborate. And an ability to also pass information, have been proven based on observation in the past decade that these were important regardless where the technology is shifting. So maybe we concentrate on those again. Thank you again for that. Oh, you want? Okay, good. So how many minutes do we have? Okay, so maybe questions from the audience?
Visar, can I add something before the question? I just wanted to add that we're focusing a lot on what industry can only do, and I don't think that education should really be a part of that. I think we should start really early on equipping kids with the skills of today and tomorrow, therefore qualifying some subjects or revamping some curricula would do the work. The thing is that we also should think how education can embrace digital aspect of it or digital angle. So in the future, whatever kids want to be part of the sector, which is ICT, the reason why I asked which sector is because I'm coming from the education sector, and I think it has a big role to play, especially in the era that we're living. I think no one should be left out from this process, and the earlier on kids get familiar with the technology, the probability of them being part of your industry is probably higher, but everyone else will also be part of it too. Yeah, just this question.
Thanks. Questions from the audience, specific to a member or general?
Thank you, Donita. I really enjoyed your perspectives. My question is somehow related to, are we really being focused, it's a challenging question, it's are we really focused on just producing more and more coders, but what about the profiles we need around them? Other profiles like project managers, copywriters, testers, quality assurance, and everyone else around that makes the job of the coder easier to finish at the end. And also another perspective, we're always more leaning on preparing the new generation, but what about the people that are already working in institutions, not in the industry and business? So how do we prepare them to continue working and excelling more and increasing their productivity in what they do? Just curious to see your perspectives.
Thank you, Donita. Amazing. I believe that we do not need to concentrate only to create coders. As I mentioned earlier, it is the time is coming to no code or low code. It means that everybody needs to embrace digitalization and the needs, and they don't need to know to code. Everyone has a smartphone. Why should I care what processor it has or what protocols are using? I don't need to know that. I need to use and to do other job using that technology. And you are very right, we need to have coders, but in the meantime, to prepare the whole Kosovo and the world for no-code time, when coding will be only something that will help everybody. And the other question, yes, Gen Z is very important, but how about us? In 99, 2000, 2001, I taught a lot of people. That time, mouse was something unknown, and I know when they took a mouse and started to use like this. The same we need to do now. It needs to be the critical mass of people. They will need to know how to use Kosova. They need to know how to call taxi, how to use e-banking, how to do many things without what now we cannot comprehend our life. That's why I think that not only working with new generation, that is the must, but we must do again the same as we did after the war, to spread the knowledge to everybody, not to make everyone coders, but to make everyone users of digital tools and digital services. Great observation.
I'm gonna add just one element, because there's a pressing need, and because of in economy, right, when there is lack of something and a huge demand, there is also inflation of salaries, and to some degree at an individual company level that is causing problem, but at the state level we might lose competitive advantage. Okay, we might lose this region might lose competitive advantage. And that's the reason that currently I think the focus has been on creating more coders so we can have more entrants, meet demand, but also stay competitive. Thank you. On the end, I would like to learn what's the professional handshake is. Maybe later.
I will like to shake your hand, my friend. Yeah. Show us how it's done. Your eyeballs are right in my eyeballs. That's how you do it. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our panelists and our moderator. Thank you so much.